G'day. Excuse me, just having a quick vape like the cool kids do. Thought I'd better have three. Comedy rule of threes and all that. Hello, number one. Thank you for turning up. How are you? So here I am on a Friday night. Oh my goodness, it went from 1 to 23 very quickly indeed. I'm very glad you've joined me. So, I just thought I'd pop on, say good day. Let me. G'day, James Stubbins and Jose. It is bedtime, you're quite right. But I thought I'd jump on and say good night and let you know what I've been up to the last couple of days. So let me think. When was the last time I was on? So fortnight ago, what I do? Fortnight ago, I went down and I saw $3 left and Martin Maloney down in Roisin Dove and Galway, and they were fab. They're doing awfully well and touring around a lot. Hey, Luis Carlos. James, you in Illinois, huh? Oh, thank you for joining me. And let me see, last weekend I was in Dublin. I went and did a broadcasting course because that's what I like to do. I like to be on the radio. I used to be on the radio. I haven't been on the radio for a while, but I want to get back into it. So I went off to do a broadcasting course. And it was in Dublin last weekend. So I was there. And I met several fabulous actors, a couple of whom were quite well known. One was Amelia Crowley from Dairy Girls. She was an amazing coach for voiceover and broadcast. She was very nurturing of the talent that was in the room and was a lovely person, hugely funny. And on the second day of the course, I met Jerry O'Brien, and Jerry O'Brien is an extremely well-known Irish actor and voice talent, and he's been around for 50 years or more as an Irish talent. Um, you'd recognise him if you saw him. He's in Pirates of the Caribbean and all sorts of things going back ages. And let me think. Oh, it was so funny. Sunday, on the Sunday of the course, I went and had a recording session to record a little demo tape of my voiceovers, right? And while I was waiting for my recording studio appointment, I was sitting on a step in Marion Square, Marion Street Upper. I was sitting on a step and I had my suitcase with me and my very large handbag because I was going to catch the train shortly after my appointment to come back to Mayo from Dublin. And there were two American tourists walking along Marion Square. Like they were, they were walking on the footpath, and I was sitting on the steps in front of a beautiful solicitor's house, all these beautiful terrace houses overlooking Marion Square and the park. And these two middle-aged American tourist ladies were saying they were very lost, and they were blaming each other for being lost and saying they didn't know where they were going to meet their friend and that sort of thing. And so I called out to them and said, "Excuse me, ladies," so I could help. I said, "Do you need some help?" And they panicked, and they turned around and they started saying, "Sorry, we don't have anything." And then they started running away. I said, "I don't want anything. I'm just trying to help you because you're lost." And they're like, "No, we know the way." I'm like, "Are you sure?" They said, "Yeah, we're positive." And they were running from me. And I thought, what on earth is going on? And then I realized they thought I was a homeless local. And this American tourists are so terrified of like Dublin city centre at the moment because of all the media beat up on how dangerous it has supposedly become, and it's not. These bloody American tourists thought that they were at danger from me. I was sitting there in like a nice dress with my handbag and my little suitcase, and they thought like I was a bag lady that was going to knife them to death in Marion Square. Like, I could literally see the policeman who was guarding like the dole, like the Irish Parliament. I could see him 50 yards from where I was sitting, and I was just trying to help these nice American ladies. And they were so petrified they ran away from me, which was hilarious, really, when you think of it. See, I'm a tourist director, and I work with American tourists all the time, so I could have helped them, but alas, they were too busy running away to um to be helped. More fool them. All right. Anyway, but I thought I would read to you the Irish Australian poem that I read for my broadcasting. Okay, so I decided this will be my. Thank you for Chicago is no joke, I'm sure. James Stavich. I really want to visit Chicago, however, I really, really do. I would like to come and see Chicago for very many reasons. Um, but I'd like to try the comedy club in Chicago because it's legendary stand-up territory in Chicago. All right, I'm going to read this poem. This poem is called A Bush Christening and is written by a chap called Andrew Patterson, Banjo Patterson, and his family's from up near Monaghan. So he's an Ulster Scots, basically, Mr. Patterson. All right, you ready? Here we go. On the outer Barcoo, where the churches are few, and men of religion are scanty, on a road never crossed, except by folk that are lost, one Michael Magee had a shanty. Now this Mike was the dad of a 10-year-old lad, plump, healthy, and stoutly conditioned. He was strong as the best, but poor Mike had no rest, for the youngster had never been christened. And his wife used to cry, "If the darling should die, St. Peter would not recognize him." But by luck he survived, till a preacher arrived, who agreed straightway to baptize him. Now the artful young rogue, while they held their collogue, with his ear to the keyhole was listening, and he muttered in fright, while his features turned white, "What the devil in all is this christening?" He was none of your dolts, he had seen them brand colts, and it seemed to his small understanding, if the man in the frock made him one of the flock, it must mean something very like branding. So away with a rush he set off for the bush, while the tears in his eyelids they glistened. "'Tis outrageous," says he, "to brand youngsters like me. I'll be dashed if I'll stop to be christened." Like a young native dog he ran into a log, and his father, with language uncivil, never heeding the "praist," cried aloud in his haste, "Come out and be christened, ye divil." But he lay there as snug as a bug in a rug, and his parents in vain might reprove him, till his reverence spoke. He was fond of a joke. "I've a notion," says he, "that'll move him. Poke a stick up the log, give the spalpeen a prog, poke him aisy, don't hurt him or maim him. 'Tis not long that he'll stand off the water at hand, as he rushes out this end, I'll name him. Here he comes, and for shame you've forgotten the name. Is it Patsy or Michael or Dinnis?" Here the youngster ran out, and the priest gave a shout, Take your chance, anyhow, with McGinnis. As the howling young cub ran away to the scrub where he knew that pursuit would be risky, the priest, as he fled, flung a flask at his head that was labelled McGinnis's whiskey. And McGinnis McGee has been made a JP, and the one thing he hates more than sin is to be asked by the folk who have heard of the joke how he came to be christened McGinnis. There you go, one of my favourite. Oh, I've dropped something rather dreadfully, I'm afraid. Never mind, you get that. Oh, rotate device, it says. It does not want to make up its mind. Oh, there I am, I'm back. It's very tricky whenever I try to go, whenever I try to move it. It's upside down for some reason. But anyway, let me put my glasses back on so I can see what you're saying. Lots of beautiful colours. I assume you use lots of. Hallo, liebe Frau. Ah, danke schön. I never fail to be amazed by. Slam that thing. I never fail to be amazed by the variety of countries from where you've all turned up from. Pizza and hot dogs, was James Starbucks. What's pizza and hot dogs? All right, I'm going to go. I might be back over the weekend. I'll just sort of pop on, say good day, read my poem at you, let you know where I've been at, and I will see you when you've got nothing on. Alrighty? Thanks for everything.